Testing, testing, testing. All right, I'm here. Hello, you wonderful, beautiful, amazing people. It is I, Matthew Frenat. Welcome to another video, courtesy of the times I've faced and the life I've lived. Now, let's start with a bit of a forewarning. What you're about to witness is an insight into what I feel is my mind's dismay and the effects that this has had on my consciousness and on my psyche itself. And it hasn't been very pretty. It has been uneventful in terms of outside contact, but inside of here, the voices that speak to me, it has been quite terrifying what it is that I've dealt with. I just want to maybe write down a few notes. So, I'd like to talk about the journey I've went through inside of my mind and how I feel that's pertaining and correlated to my well-being. Sorry. And my mental health, and it's lowering, and just general, the factor of healthiness within me has lowered, and so has, as a direct result, my need, my instinctive need and my inherent need to create through a passionate lens, to create soul, to create happiness within myself, and so on. In order to understand what it is I've gone through, I want to start by stating the obvious. The mind. The mind is a formidable tool that I personally believe we are barely allowed to use. Only about 5 to 10% of our mind, through my predicted lens, would be utilized. And that is it is an abysmal number, of course. But some people would argue it has a purpose. It has a definite purpose in being used so little. If you assume, as I do, that, and I'd say even know to a degree, that our mindset is simulated, that our minds are simulated, which means the concoction of our mind doesn't directly correlate to our being in the very literal sense. It serves to be a placeholder for the actual mind's concoction to take place. Then you therefore realize that we're much less gifted as people that we should be. We're much less wise, intelligent, and thoughtful than we should be. I feel to a degree this can vary from person to person, but generally it is the case. And I believe that the lack of a mind's full power upon itself is done for precarious, non-pragmatic, simply nefarious and evil purposes. I believe we are one of, I don't know how many planets, but a shit ton. And that we are worked against in a grand measure, just for most people, to nearly everyone. They don't really perceive it that way, because it either, like even people with mental health, often it doesn't affect them enough for them to be troubled by it minute by minute, second by second. And the truth is that I feel like it is a beautiful, amazing thing that we have minds that even work, that we are living lives that we even live. But the fact that the mind would be a simulated object, the mind would be a simulated proponent into your life, has a lot of implications. It has a shit ton of implications. We are under the assumption that we are naturally born as people, which is the truth in a very basic sense. But if you look at it from a more so literal lens, that naturally born endeavor, the naturally born implication of who we are, well, let's just say that when a baby is in their mother's stomach, they have a very limited variance. When a baby comes out and eventually grows and grows older and grows a personality, there is a very large variance in the simulated mind's concoction I believe it accounts for personality more than anything. Personality, joy, happiness, mental illness, and so on. And all of this is basically linked to the instinctive need to form yourself, but also to the instinctive need to find yourself. Now, the truth is that, and yes, I've been coughing, by the way, and yes, I actually happen to believe that this is a side effect of my mental illness increasing grasp on myself. Because the way my schizophrenia works is not fucking normal at all. In fact, I doubt it is schizophrenia at this point. I believe it is assimilated elements from the outside that is messing with me in here. And it would find it amusing to make me gain weight, because I've been gaining weight massively quickly considering I eat as much as before. So lower my metabolism. It finds it amusing to make me cough like that. It finds it amusing to not let me beat, not let me listen to music without shouting in my ears practically. It finds it amusing to create stories around me and about me, and to mock every single fiber of my very limited social life. And it does all of it because, well, in this instance, it cares about killing my life. And I mean literally killing me. Although that will not happen, so simply killing my joint happiness is that I'm practically dead. However, despite the very much lack of nuance in those concepts, there is deeper conceptuality at play. I wouldn't say deeper meaning, unless you count it in a certain way, then yes, there's deeper meaning. But there is a deeper concept at play, that is for certain. Let's talk about 3 points that have been brought up that I feel are very valid in pertaining to this end of things. The first is the personality recreation aspect of things. So this doesn't make sense to you already, and honestly it still doesn't to me. I simply play along with it because I get easily macabre and saddened in my head and delusionally manipulated, to the point that I hear a concept and I wholly feel like going along with it. I'm ashamed of the armpit sweat. Honestly, the armpit sweat. Honestly, armpit. The personality recreation and the implication it has had on my psyche and on my life. So basically, the grand theme of the manipulation and the delusional thought and the delusional action upon myself is a thought process in which I will eventually receive the ability to summon objects from my mind. And I mean literally, as in I snap my fingers and I say summon food, summon a pizza or something, and then boom, a slice of pizza appears. And my last year has made this process very thoroughly convincing in my mind. That's thoroughly convinced me that it is more than a distinct, it is a real possibility that this will happen. Now, the truth is that almost nothing that has ever pertained to reality has ever amounted to this at all, if not nothing. And anything that has been through a false lens. It has been through a magic show lens or something. Like just like, oh, a magic show, ooh, something appears, but that's not actually making something appear, that's pretending something has appeared. That is a significant difference. And in terms of what we perceive and what we see in our reality, this would be seen as blatantly false and untrue. But I've believed it considerably. And what this has linked to has been the potential, of course. What this has linked to, of course, or not of course, but to my mind naturally, based on the events I've perceived, has been that I would then later on in life, as I near 70 or 80 or 90 and then die, I would enter an afterlife. I would enter a life after death, which would accommodate me potentially very well, potentially not so well at all, but it would accommodate me. And the truth is that every single time that I've thought about this concept, it has given me the utmost in hope and happiness. Every single time that I faltered with the concept, it has given me nothing but sadness and misdirection within my thinking. And to tell the truth, I am not very joyous of a person, but the thought that I might live after that and live a beautiful life has given me the utmost joy, not to the point that I'd actually want to end my life to make my happiness clear, of course, because that would be insane. It would be a lunacy, because I'm only about 30% on the whole concept regardless, but it has given me something to think about and something to look forward to. Now, the truth is that the personality recreation aspect of my mind, which is a figurative imagination, it's a an imagined thing that has happened to me, has basically been that I picture variants of myself that surround me that I don't see, but that when there is the moment, which is essentially all it amounts to now, when there is the moment where I get gaslighted, when there are moments where I get gaslighted or I get insulted or I get hurled against or I get hurled to or so on. Well, then in those moments, I will always be told the same thing. I really love your personality recreation. I want to talk to it. Even though it sounds silly to me, it sounds silly to me massively. Undoubtedly, truly silly to me right now, because I'm being told that I am less than my personality when your personality is you, if you get what I mean. So that's pretty funny in of itself, but I guess the idea is that there are personality recreations that are bred through my minds, and they're me, but they're entertained more. And honestly, it works excessively well on me. I'm talking about this with a more cleared out head, which has made it possible for me to kind of deduct the realities of matters more. And what it essentially does beyond that, because I've been dealing with some kind of point system in my head where I kind of have to figure out a counter. It's hard to explain, but essentially it's, I see points, I get the points to 100. One moment, one scene, one part of what I'm dealing with disappears from my mind. And it's hopefully never to be seen again. And usually it doesn't to be seen again. Now, Jesus. Now, the second point I'd like to work on is the demonic, I'd like to talk about the demonic interference that I feel I've been dealing with, and this is a very serious one. And the mannerisms of gaslighting and how they work. As the side of human emotion, I consider myself to be a very mature person. Human emotion is very easy to figure out, ultimately in the end, if you're dealing with an intelligent life form. Excessively easy. And one thing is, well, you know, as people, we all seek answers and we seek the need to have the truth be known. Well, you're working against that creates gaslighting. If you ask someone a question and they answer half the question and they give a different answer than the third answer, well, that frustrates a person, because you're like, hey, I'd like a clear and concise answer to that question, because I'm constantly in fear that my life will be taken away from me. And if the person goes and then answers a fourth answer, well, then you get frustrated, you know? Then you get pissed off, and that's human emotion. And it's hard to let go of that. It is excessively hard to let go of that. But the truth is in no case would it be fully avoidable, but in some cases probably more than me. But that's not the only thing I'm dealing with. The act of gaslighting upon myself, I've also had my seeking out of answers lead to people just mumbling, which sounds kind of funny actually. They just mumble answers like, I want to tell you, and you think that wouldn't bother me, but it kind of bothers me, and I'm not sure why now that I think about it, but the point is it does, you know. The demonic interference aspect of things, well, this beyond the fact that the voices outside of my head that link to my head, instinctively link to my head, call themselves demons, and beyond the fact that I actually see them as living, breathing people, as actual people. I see them that way. Uh, there's something demonic, sincerely, severely, wholly demonic about what is going on. And you could argue that voices are demonic in their inherent design and respect. And in respect of the voices, they're clearly demonic. In that respect, sorry. But I guess the former could work. But the truth is that I feel like the demonic interference aspect of my mind and the accusations that are laid forth and put against me are all done through a demonic lens simply because they inherently serve to gaslight me. But the point I find fascinating is that sometimes there's a lot of like pauses, like there's a lot of in truthfulness, there's a lot of honesty I feel in the background because I'm being fucked with by an outfit of nefariousness, of evil, but it doesn't feel wholly evil in this weird way. It just feels like life has dealt me a very bad hand, and most of the voices that are against me have needed to pertain to that bad hand. I've needed to have that bad hand be in their grasp in order to live, in order to survive themselves. So there's no doubt that they're living out there, you know. And I'm just the only one on my planet. I actually almost wholly believe this. That I'm the only one on my planet that has actually fully spotted the environment itself. Because I was a genius with how I reversed schizophrenia. That was a genius move. And that lasted 3 months and a half. With no voices, you know, which was beautiful. It was a beautiful time. It was a gorgeous time. The demonic interference, and I could talk about that in a future video. Basically, the demonic interference, well, if you assume that demons aren't the worst baddies of all, they're just pretty bad people, but not abysmal people, then it kind of all starts to make sense. And the third point, working against a brighter change and future. Well, I'll leave it at this. If the story in my mind of materialization is wholly real, meaning if I can actually, summon objects in my mind in a hypothetical scenario where my head is freed and I'm given access to my planet, then what this concoction that works against me serves to do is end that process, because it gives people excessive happiness. Which is kind of confusing, but ultimately sensical if you consider the thought pattern that is set forward upon me. But that's an unlikely, like that is so easily categorized as a delusion. It is almost nonsensical how easily it is categorized as a delusion, and it can easily be seen as nonsensical itself. Anyways, with all that said, I think I'm gonna go. I know I could have said a lot more. This was a simulation in my mind. Episode 1 or 2, I recorded another one that I might post, but I didn't actually post it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I mean, I like speaking. I'm probably gonna speak more soon. And yeah. You're amazing for listening. You're beautiful, incredible people for listening to me. And thank you. Thank you, sweethearts. Goodbye.